This is going to be a pretty bare bones video for a few reasons. One, I'm not actually in my home and will not be for about another month. I'm currently somewhere in the world, out on an internship, so I only have my shitty laptop that is not optimized for video editing with me. 2, I don't have the time for this, but I can't just leave something this big hanging, so I'm gonna try to just focus on the content of the video rather than how it looks. A few days ago, a creator by the name of HappyLikeAwall made a video discussing her current situation regarding her platform and, more importantly, the doxing attempts made to try and find her. In that video is a slew of misinformation, a lot of it regarding me and my role in the unknown spy drama that occurred last year. This video is going to be my last response, at least in video form, to HappyLikeAwall. I'll be picking apart her video and pointing out things that she's either left out or assumed that are entirely incorrect. Before we get into everything, I feel like this is a pretty good place to bring up some things I did get wrong in the unknown spy video. This has been pinned in the top comment of that video for a very long time now. Most of them added when I was first made aware of them, but I'll be going over them here again. First is that Unknown Spy was unaware of Noi being in NSFW circles when she originally made the doc, and very hurriedly put a second one together to discuss that. Secondly, the picture Happy used in her thumbnail was actually drawn by Noi. My fault for assuming. Of course, I still have no earthly idea on what possessed Happy to decide to put censors over where the character's nipples would be, given the original didn't have anything to censor. Thirdly is more of a clarification to a previous tweet. This Twitter post where Happy talks about her server being flooded by minors had a deleted reply about how labeling NSFW stuff is bad and to not tell kids where to find it. We'll circle back to this. A third party replied to this post that I interpreted as, "It's almost like this is exactly what I wanted, ushering kids into places where they can find NSFW." Happy would reply undoubtedly to this comment before the user clarified they were talking about how I condone and want people I cover harassed. This user had, on a separate occasion, under one of the threads Happy had retweeted, insinuated that I wanted to touch kids. Fantastic. The other edit I made isn't a correction, rather a direct condemnation of people who were raiding a Happy server to spam inappropriate content. That was added once I was aware people were going that far. We'll circle back to this too once we get to that point in Happy's video. Alright, with all that out of the way, I'll be talking about her video, skipping over sections that are irrelevant, and filling in the blanks where she's left out exactly what she's done. Before we get started, a quick rundown of what happened last year. If you want the full story, go back and watch the video. Unknown Spy publishes a 100-page Google Doc on a 15-year-old by the name of Noi, with direct links to all their social media, who have been very closely copying her art. Thankfully, Spy has fixed and removed all those links to Noi's social media. A second doc that was linked to the first very briefly touched on the fact that Noi was in NSFW spaces and drawing suggestive art. However, most of the drama was focused on they plagiarized my art. HappyLikeAwall would make a video talking about the document Spy released on her channel, and while she included a disclaimer not to harass Noi,
disclaimer: this video features mature topics, including NSFW content and child endangerment. Please do not harass or contact any of the people mentioned. This video is purely educational. I don't want it to look like I'm salty at a child. I mean, I am, but for a good reason.
Would not only proceed to completely unnecessarily pull apart their art in the video to make fun of them,
position of the image, it's the exact same thing. What is this scoliosis looking back, bro? The alien, the back shot, same arm, even down to the heart choker. The arm is actually interacting with the boobs. It's pushing.
Yeah.
There is dimension to this, but this is just but you can see how straight this is? Like, she just has a hole. There's cute and flirty, and then there is...
I'm sure...
Note, Noi calls themselves thick artist, okay? So it's different.
Now they're just doing it to piss them off at this point, because they have the same ears.
If you look at the entire image, it's obviously stylized, it's very exaggerated, so the arms being super round, it doesn't particularly stand out that much, but then you look over at the other character, and I think she got tumors.
Would also deflect arguments to direct more hate towards Noi. Her words, not mine. Obviously, a wave of harassment followed from the ensuing drama. Of course, Noi had issues that needed to be addressed, particularly with the claims that they were hosting suggestive and NSFW content in their server that included both adults and minors. Not that that was treated with any amount of seriousness. After this, I would occasionally tweet about Happy, bring up either things I got wrong or new information coming out. I stopped interacting with the situation around mid-September to early October of 2024, and have not looked back into the situation nor been involved in anything regarding since. Until now, of course. If you want a more detailed rundown, you can check out my old video. I'll link it in the description if you're interested. And onto the new stuff. On August 20th, 2025, Happy would upload a video titled they tried to find me in real life, discussing the previous controversies, my video, and the doxing incident. That's the video this section is covering, so let's get on with it.
Post animation memes in which I insert myself. In other words, I parody content that's pretty much already on the platform. While suggestive content already largely populates the animation meme community, apparently it is only a problem when I'm the one doing it.
I don't know what Happy's on about with this point. Even in the original video, I'm criticizing Spy for doing the same pinup art and animation that I criticized Happy for.
But even worse than that, and maybe I'm just missing something or I didn't see a screenshot because there was so much I had to go through, is that throughout her chats with Noi, not once did I see a message of Spy telling Noi that he shouldn't be viewing her work because 2 years ago, when this all started, she was still making openly suggestive work.
If you're talking about the animation meme community at large, the fact I haven't explicitly discussed it does not mean I'm not critical of how much sexual shit there is, but that's for another video.
Throughout everything, I continued posting to YouTube, just whatever was trending, hoping to branch into storytime or commentary like some other creators already had. Having NSFW on the side, on a separate platform, isn't unusual. In the end, I just wanted to make whatever got views, cause if the safe stuff nobody clicks on takes so much effort, why even bother?
This kind of confirms something I suspected in my last video, that Happy would hop from trend to trend, including those that massively appeal to kids, in order to gain views. Having those video alongside videos you deem are 16 or 18 plus, with absolutely no disclaimer and pinup bait thumbnails. Normally having a Patreon or something that promotes NSFW work is not an issue. Actively promoting said Patreon on your mixed channel while you are attempting to call out a minor for exposing other minors to suggestive content, well, that's a bit ironic.
Combined with the Roblox-related video, made YouTube start recommending me almost exclusively to kids, deliberately searching for things like Roblox Naked No Blur and Anime Toe Girl No Shoes Girl, which, wait, what the fuck does that even mean? Naturally, they would also brag about mass reporting me in the comments, probably as a way to like one-up their parents in case they get a hold of their search history or something. I don't know. I tried to ride the wave as well as I could, but would on-off unless the baller video, change channel tags, hoping to eventually tap into an audience that wasn't foaming at the mouth at the sight of a glorified stick figure. Of course, people are always going to say, well, you made videos on things kids like. People also seem to ignore that animation meme trends can appear from any corner of the internet and blow up within any subcategory of the animation community.
No one is able to control their audience, whether that be demographic-wise or action-wise. I just feel like if you're aware that you've attracted a predominantly young fan base, you're at least willfully ignorant if you're actively still drawing very suggestive videos that you say yourself are not meant for kids.
Ironically enough, slapping a 16 plus or 18 plus disclaimer would make it easier for kids to find me, since that is exactly what they're looking for. When will we accept that kids aren't stupid? It's not like little Timmy is being held at gunpoint to Google Roblox feet. We've all looked up weird stuff growing up. It's part of life. Managing that is, and will, always be the parents' job.
Yes, putting a disclaimer in the title could attract kids who are actively looking for this kind of stuff. But you know what the alternative to that is? Having YouTube indiscriminately promote the video to a lot more minors who inhabit the AMC. There is no feasible way to stop kids who are actively looking for this stuff. Putting disclaimers is part of doing your due diligence as a creator, the same way that games or movies all have to add age recommendations. How exactly is a parent supposed to screen every single video that their child watches before allowing them to watch it? These disclaimers act as warnings for parents to make sure their kids aren't watching anything not intended for them.
Then the third issue unfolded, the self-appointed critics and the performative child safety brigade. They'll weaponize anything, and I mean literally anything. No age disclaimer.
Your videos that you have stated should be for a 16 plus audience are not labeled anywhere as such on the actual videos.
Having linked my Twitter at one point in the past.
She had her Twitter linked, and her Twitter at the time had no indication it was 18 plus. Happy would openly favorite and post NSFW works on this account.
Having a Patreon, even if it's generally known that it's only gated to adults.
Something promoting an SFW Patreon to a channel that produces content that appeals largely to kids.
Okay, that was a bit of a long clip, but I feel like it was necessary to play all of it to show the dishonest framing Happy goes about this video with. Happy treats my video like it just popped out of nowhere to single her out specifically for her transgressions, never mentioning even once in this entire video that this video was made in response to her actively using her platform to demonize a minor for doing the same shit she was doing. That was the point, Happy. That everything you were calling out Noi for, exposing kids to suggestive content and spaces, were things that you did as well. It's pointing out the hypocrisy of making a video condemning Noi for endangering their peers and themselves while you had your NSFW Twitter linked. That was pointed out because you still had that linked after you made the video. You insist over and over again that your videos are meant for older audiences, while your channel was a complete mix of both content that was wholly family friendly, along with these 16+ videos. It was an absolute breeding ground for unsuspecting kids to be exposed to adult spaces while you continue to harp on a kid for being irresponsible with this stuff. It is absolutely buck wild that you are talking about my video as if I leapt out of the bushes one day with the single-minded goal of taking you down by any means necessary. As if I wasn't making a response to a video you made on a 15-year-old.
Having retweeted a child's fan art when it's obvious I retweeted anything I was tagged in, since you can't actually micromanage a following in the thousands.
Lucy would have been 15 when they submitted this fan art.
That's my L. This kid didn't have their age in the bio at the time they drew Happy that piece of art, so there would be no way to verify and check. With that being said, it is not an uncommon practice among NSFW artists on Twitter to block underage accounts or accounts with no ages. Maybe you don't participate in that, okay, but acting like I'm asking you or forcing you to interact with every single one of your fans is such a leap. Yes, the amount of people interacting with you is overwhelming, but you can control who you respond to. Again, in this instance, it would have been impossible to tell that they were a minor, but quickly checking for someone's age if you're planning on interacting with them on an NSFW account is not an insane ask.
In their hands, anything became evidence to their grouping fantasies. Or at the very least that I'm monetizing kids' views.
And you want to go around and talk about how minors shouldn't be in NSFW spaces when you've contributed to the endangerment of minors this openly?
I'm sorry, what? Grouper fantasies? Point out one instance, any singular instance, where I even come close to calling you a grouper, or a predator. On the contrary, I have repeatedly clarified that I am not even suggesting that idea.
Calling Happy a pedophile for this is factually incorrect. Given that she's mentioned she's a victim herself, it's entirely possible that she just hasn't had the opportunity to undo some of the mentality her abuser may have used against her. Pointing out the fault in her arguments is fine, but throwing around such a heavy label is disrespectful to people who have actually suffered from this kind of abuse.
Show me any place that I have called you a grouper or suggested that you are one. Give me one solid example. The very fact that you're unable to even produce any screenshot or recording when you absolutely would have if I had done that speaks for itself.
Then, in order to expose me for my crimes, they would go on to broadcast my full handles to their own underage audiences. No disclaimers, no age restrictions, essentially handing these kids a neon sign where to find the dangerous content.
I'm not sure if you know how these things work, Happy, but if you're making a claim about someone, you can't go hiding their handles because that would make faking screenshots very easy. This almost reads as, you shouldn't talk about this thing that I did if you're going to include evidence that I was actually the one who did it. Similarly, I can't make claims about anyone without evidence to back up those claims. The audience should not be going off of your word alone that someone is behaving irresponsibly. Outright NSFW has been censored.
Imagine doing all that performative mumbo-jumbo just to go on and broadcast said dangerous content to the kids on the channel.
Not once did I see a message of Spy telling Noi that he shouldn't be viewing her work because 2 years ago, when this all started, she was still making openly suggestive work.
If they really cared that much about child safety, you'd think they'd at the very least censor usernames.
Tell me exactly how I meant to cover a drama involving two massive creators teaming up to beef with a 15-year-old and keep the creators who I'm talking about anonymous. Pointing out that you did the things and showing that you did them go hand in hand.
Instead, they focus on muting the audio on a clip that's well over a minute long so they can monetize the video.
Oh no, a channel monetizing their videos. How terrible.
It's blatantly obvious that this is just a harassment campaign under the guise of child safety. They throw out wild accusations like it's nothing that sound severe enough to distract from the blatant double standards. You can have your opinion about suggestive content, but you can't heavily imply somebody is a groomer and then go on to openly broadcast the same content that you're condemning.
So, let me get this straight. My video, responding to your video, talking about how you two sent a massive and undeserved wave of disgruntled fans on a 15-year-old kid, is a harassment campaign under the guise of child safety. Got it. I'm sorry, I just can't get over the fact that Happy keeps dancing around the fact that my video is responding to something that she made to point out how she was doing the same shit she's calling out the minor for. I have at every turn, explicitly clarified that I am not accusing you of being a groomer. Genuinely, I am asking for if I've ever supported a comment implying you to be one, or any solid instance of me doing that. I've called you negligent in your actions, whether that's through malice or something else, I don't know, but it's negligent nonetheless. Here's you saying that the true goal of my video was to direct kids to your 18+ Discord server though. You know, implicitly suggesting that I want kids to be flooding 18+ spaces.
When I called out this hypocrisy, pointing out how their actions were actually introducing kids to my content in order to harass me in greater numbers than ever before, they didn't even follow up on their own rules. No age restricting the video, no re-upload with any corrected information, just a pinned comment nobody reads to fix half of the claims. This pinned comment would eventually span over half the page, so that tells you all you need to know.
I didn't re-upload the video with corrected information because I simply outright disagree on many of the points you claim to be misinformation. While interacting with my community, both for my comments and privately, actively discouraged anyone from harassing you. You counting part of my pinned comment directly condemning harassment against you, again, as evidence that the video is somehow so full of holes that it needs to be taken down? I don't really know what to say about that.
There isn't even a single tweet expressing concern about all the kids running rampant in adult spaces regurgitating lines from the video. Instead of doing any of those things, they would respond by misrepresenting my worries and alleging that I had called them a groomer. To make this whole thing even more beautiful, they then updated their pinned comment to include a link to this very Twitter argument, linking the underage viewers directly to the NSFW account they just spent 50 minutes painting as a danger to kids. Apparently endangering kids is fine as long as you need them as cannon fodder when you can't win an argument organically.
The linked thread, I only ever posted and replied through quoted screenshots. God forbid I link something that I think is important from my own Twitter page. I have never once disagreed with you that kids should not be in your server, nor have I championed for anyone participating in raiding your server to spam messages. The reason I'm harping on you about this was because, despite the disclaimers at the beginning of the video, there's a 3-minute section of unnecessary bullying Noi about their art, while you have expressed sentiment for other people to actively hate said 13-year-old. I'm harping on you, not because I expect you to control every single member of your community. It's because you clearly have no genuine intention of keeping people from harassing others. I'm not sure if I have the screenshot for it anymore, but you would ping everyone in your server to dogpile tweets I've made. And somehow all of that doesn't count as harassment. Fuck, if you want a real solid example that you actively went out of your way to harass people, I've got a great one. Why don't we talk about how you not only decide to put my Sona into an NSFW piece with your character, but that you were literally offering to commission other people to draw more NSFW art of my Sona. You then would use a picture that someone else drew as your Twitter profile banner and part of the picture that you drew as your profile picture. I found this thread completely on accident while I was keeping tabs on a separate situation, but holy shit, some of the stuff here, absolutely wild. Between you speculating on going to Lyle Convoy about me, asking other 4chaners for any dirt they might have, or fuck, the fact that you decided the reason I'm not happy with how you handled your platforms is because of my groomer, and that you'd love to get more insight into that. Sorry, I meant wanting to hear out my groomer because you have a vendetta against me. The lengths you went to just to try and find some angle to cancel me from is insane. So, yeah, Happy, all of that against a few sarcastic comments I made that I endorse harassment because they're so far from reality, I can't help but laugh. Are you sure my supposed true desire to see you harassed isn't some form of projecting?
This obviously makes the whole video come off as super disingenuous. As much as these people want to frame themselves as having the moral high ground, they're actually harmful both to the kids and the adults that they baselessly accuse. The more I voiced the problems with the video, the more harassment ramped up. They started to keep tabs on me. I already had them blocked, only unblocking them periodically to ask them to leave me alone. They screenshotted everything I said and twisted it to fit their narrative, always making sure to get the last word.
Wow, shocker that I would screenshot things that you've said about me where you were constantly doing something only to delete it a few days later. Almost every time I bring up this drama on Twitter, it's in response to some new stuff you've brought up, like the fact that you've called me ableist off of literally nothing. You claim that it was because you tried oh so hard to work it out in DMs while you were sending our conversation to your public NSFW server to get people to laugh at. Real private there. Before, might I add, straight up blocking me midway through the conversation.
Any genuine criticism, both from me or my community, is fully deflected. It is all replied to with snark, sarcasm, or even chalked up to harassment. Responsibility fully denied.
The worst you have on me is me replying okay Lamau and poking fun at an unfounded sentiment. If you had bothered to look for more than 5 minutes, Happy, maybe you would see the 10 different comments this one person kept coming to me with. Yeah, they are the ones doing the harassing they speak of. Show me one instance where I've deflected genuine criticism by bringing up that your community has been harassing me as well. Because they have. You want proof? Okay, here you go. I would have thought that you would have been able to see it yourself, given that most of it was posted in a public space. And I direct you back to previous sections about the not acknowledging harassment thing, and the reason I'm on your ass about harassment is because you clearly encourage it, and have done it. To me.
The issue here is that carefully curated screenshots spread way faster than any explanation ever could. Bystanders will think that they've seen the full picture and will never look any deeper, and that's how you get away with everything. Cash in on being the defender of kids, and cover up that you just encourage swarms of minors to harass an NSFW artist. I honestly could make a video talking about everything, how they would make excuses for not reaching out when they have had months to actually reply to me, how much was blatantly made up, how much my words got twisted after the fact, just for pointing out how truly scummy and disgusting it is to only start doing your due diligence after you receive the backlash. I know this video in the end is only made to drag me through the mud, but I also know that it would turn into endless back and forth where I am framed as the bad guy no matter what I say.
Point by point, if I want to make a video about a public situation and do not speak to either party and report what I'm able to see and find with my own 2 eyeballs, there's nothing about that that's so horribly biased that would taint the video. Especially considering I came into the situation as a fan of spies. If anything, I was biased for her. I've already mentioned this in my previous video, but I'll say it again. I showed up the day we were meant to talk, and she wasn't there. I logged out of my public account that I rarely use, mostly to contact people about commissions, and did not log back into that account until I was midway through gathering screenshots for the video. How much of that video was blatantly made up? I got it wrong that you drew the thumbnail for the video, and once I was aware of that, I immediately made a correction. If I make mistakes, I will correct them. That does not take away from the fact that you're weird for censoring the character's tits for the thumbnail, or whatever other part of the video you think I've made up.
The only reason I'm even bringing it up right now, in a very limited fashion, is because of how far this is going. Obviously, the end goal throughout all of this was just to be left alone. I didn't want to continue being stuck in this negative feedback loop that would fuel other people, so I decided to just suck it up. I deleted my posts in which I defended myself, granting nobody any more substance to respond to. A certain someone was already fantasizing and kicking their feet in excitement at the thought of getting a video to respond to, while also already fighting imaginary comments. There's literally layers to the delusion here.
I'm gonna guess that you banked on your audience not knowing the timeline or bothering to read the screenshot to make this claim. Like I wasn't responding to the fact that you were planning to make a video on the situation. Or maybe, just maybe, I was addressing why I was silent about the situation for the last week. You were still actively talking about the situation after I posted that tweet, contrary to your narrative. This was clearly posted on July 4th, and yet here you are on July 6th, still posting about it. You want to make it seem like I had posted this tweet after you've recently gone and deleted any trace of this drama from your channel, as if I'm frothing at the mouth to drag you through the mud. You can't even contain your vitriol for me for 20 whole minutes, calling me delusional to support your argument. Really? If anyone was kicking their feet in excitement about making a video about this, it was you, Happy.
Because I never really ended up making this anticipated video, one member of the ACC, because it's always art commentary community adjacent people, Vincent, would take it upon himself to carry on with the legacy. Apparently, he had also been waiting for a video to respond to, and because he didn't want his efforts to go to waste, he ended up releasing a huge Google Drive publicly, full of months worth of careful documentation of everything I did and say across social media, ordered by date, topic, you name it, anything possibly incriminating, or rather stuff he could twist to make me look bad, but with that, also stuff that could be useful to actually figure out where I live. He'd do all this documenting from alts, because like many other trolls, I had him picked out before. All the way back then, we had already asked him to leave me alone, and then he didn't, so we channeled reports for harassment through my community. This in return made him angrier, claimed harassment, also claimed I had things to hide. Really, everything I did in efforts to give ACC adjacent people nothing to respond to, like auto-clearing my Discord chats would be chalked up to Happy covering up evidence and fuel them to dig even harder. In this Google Drive, I found a jumbled mess of what was going to be a YouTube video script. The script contained over 40 pages of miscellaneous documentation of nearly everything that happened in my personal life that I dared speak about from the comfort of my Discord server. Vincent grasping at straws to make me look bad, for example stating that I am establishing parasocial bonds for personal gain by talking about private matters that I shouldn't talk about with fans, and he would have gone on to broadcast said private matters on YouTube. It is absolutely jarring to me that people just can't humanize creators in any way, and seemingly even friendship is a foreign concept to them. If I want to make an environment in which people are comfortable to talk about things that bother them, there's actually nothing wrong with that. He'd also bring up that we had gone on to speculate about someone trying to figure out the hows and whys and framed it in a way that suggests that doing any sort of investigation is inherently bad. Now, what makes me different from these people, however, is that I can speculate stuff and then also recognize that it is only speculation and then not put this in a YouTube video. And so, after he dropped his stalker scrapbook, I gave him pushback again, first over DMs, then a public post. He'd simply respond to this by privating his account and never publicly addressing anything. He didn't even delete the tweet until long after we got the drive itself removed for quite literally breaking the UK law. Vincent is intending to silently withdraw until it all blows over, but damage has already been done. This wonderful, lovely Google Drive would immediately be picked up by this image board, Soyjack Party, notoriously known for taking down 4chan, but also for providing a platform for people who were banned from 4chan. These people are insanely bigoted and partially inspired by thinking I'm transgender. They have taken it upon themselves to geolocate where I live. They've got a hold of all these rumors about me that are propagated by a certain someone, but also leaked email addresses, phone numbers, and various other things from website leaks, and they have already skimmed through everything in Vincent's documents as they made a copy of it straight away. I mean, it's that easy. We did the same thing when it came out ourselves because we need evidence. What is insane is that this lovely person also never came forward about any of this, clearly tied enough with Vincent to encourage each other, stalking me and exchanging screenshots like Pokemon cards, yet the very second shit backfires, they're both nowhere to be seen.
Let me get this straight. One singular tweet left under Vincent's post about how you think I have a spy in your server, and I poke fun at that notion by proclaiming him to be the spy, while I had only become aware of his activities because he was posting about how you were including your server in your campaign to make NSFW work of me. That's enough to say I was encouraging him to stalk you. Somehow. This person who I've never spoken to did not follow up on after this comment. Someone who I didn't have contact with before or after this post is who I was encouraging to stalk you. Who's the one making completely baseless accusations that could seriously damage someone's reputation now, Happy? It's awful that the situation has somehow managed to escalate to this point, and I'm sorry that the wrong people managed to get their hands on this information, and I hope that you're somewhere safe right now. But trying to implicitly implicate me in your doxing, when this is my only involvement, if you can even call it that, is gross, and honestly, at this point, I would say malicious. Pinning partial blame on me for your doxing with nothing but this one tweet, a video covering your actions in a drama you started, and your personal vendetta is horribly irresponsible. I haven't commented much on this section of the video because I don't know what's going on. I did not follow up on the situation after mid-September and have not gone back to check because I've been preoccupied with other things. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's one of the last tweets I made ever on anything regarding the situation. That's all the meaningful commentary I have to say about all of this. Maybe this will come as a shock to Happy, but I have genuinely not even thought about this drama since last September. I was not secretly planning to make a video to take you down. I was focusing on other things. This video only exists because you've tried to claim that I'm partially responsible for your doxing, when none of the identifiable information was in the video at all. Obviously, it goes without saying that what happened was awful. However angry I am with Happy aside, this is still crossing every single line and boundary, and is taking things too far. But everything you accuse me of is, funnily enough, stuff that you actually seem to be either participating in or thinking about. So, I can't help but gawk at the amount of projecting you're doing in this video. Honestly, I don't know what more I could say. I'm sure there's a litany of technical issues with my audio or video, but this is the best I can pull together for now. While I'm sympathetic for Happy's situation, I'm not going to pretend like I'm not angry that she's trying to pin part of the blame onto me while she has gone out of her way to, by the textbook definition, harass me. I can't speak much for Vincent or any of that situation and how it has been handled, since the drive's already been deleted, and I do not know Vincent well enough to do more than speculate. I'm not sure to what extent the drive documented Happy's personal life, but if it did start extending into her day-to-day, that is absolutely 3 steps too far over every line. I have no plans in making any more follow-up videos to this, unless another serious accusation is levied at me. Sorry for the impromptu video. I don't know what there was to enjoy about this, but thanks for watching nonetheless, and for your support. I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that may be. Bye!